Hi everyone, it's Valerie from Stampin' with Valerie. I want to thank you for joining me. I know this is kind of impromptu, but I'm making up for the fact that I didn't get on last night and do my One Card Wonder Wednesday video, so it's my One Card Wonder Thursday video today. I hope you enjoy it. We are going to make a super easy, super cute, peaceful Poppies shaker card. I'm going to try to pull my video up here because I want to try to share it with my group. There we go. That's how I share it. I always wondered how to share this and I could never figure it out. Now I know. So I am going to share it with my group so they can watch at the same time. This is what I've been wanting to do. I don't know why it's taken me so long to figure this out, but it did. Hi, Katie. Hi, Ingrid. How are you? So these are the papers we're going to use for this card, and this is the super easy little card that we are going to make. It is a shaker card. I was trying to come up with something that would be easy where you didn't have to use a die to cut out your part for your shaker, so I decided I would use punches for this card. And the only thing I stamped on this was Happy Birthday from the Peaceful Moments sentiment, or Peaceful Moments stamp set. So what I started with was a piece of Poppy Parade Designer Series paper. Go ahead and give that a fold. Use your bone folder. I have a piece of Whisper White for the center. We'll just put that in right now and get that done first. Hi, Laura. How are you? Thank you for joining. So I am just going to pop this in the center of the card. Now, if you want, you can always stamp something on the inside. This card I didn't stamp anything on the inside of. I know I should have, and maybe I still can if I get another stamp set out, because all I have are sentiments in this one. So then I cut a piece of the Peaceful Poppies Designer Series paper. Now, I love this print with these poppies, and they've got the black outline, and then they're just kind of watercolory looking. So I thought it was a really interesting piece to use for this. And then I just took my Starburst punch, and I knew I didn't want it at the bottom of the card, kind of in the middle, over just a little bit from the right. You want to have enough room on this side to put a strip of your adhesive, which for the adhesive that we are going to use to hook our piece of window sheet, these come in 12 by 12 sheets. I just cut this down, so it's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. But we're going to use the tear and tape adhesive to adhere this to our piece of Designer Series paper. So all I did was, as you can see, I've got this 2 3/4. Well, I think it's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. It might be 2 1/2 by 2 3/4. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some adhesive directly around the punched out part, if I can find the open to the end of my adhesive. Now, you're supposed to be able to tear this, and that's why it's called tear and tape, but I really, every time I do it, I just stretch it. So I'm just going to cut it. And what I like to do when I'm doing something like this, I like to take and peel up my first piece, and then I can lay my second piece actually right over that, because we want to make sure we have a good seal on this. And if you have any holes in the adhesive where it's stuck down, where you stick your window sheet down, you could lose some of your little sequins out of there, and you don't want to do that. You want to try to keep them all inside. And then same thing, I've just ripped that other one off. Go ahead and put another piece here. And if you go a little bit over, that's really not a huge deal, because that's all going to be covered anyway. We're going to use some foam strips in just a minute after we get all these little pieces stuck. And this is the only part that I use the tear and tape for on this, is just for getting that window sheet stuck down. Now, if you wanted to, you could use cardstock for your for your piece that your window sheet is attached to, but I love how the designer series paper just gives it lots of color and character. So once you have that done, I'm going to set this little piece aside before I make a huge mess here. And I'm going to grab these foam adhesive strips. Now we sell these in the catalog and you get 2 big sheets of them. I'm not sure if it tells you how many, I guess 40. So there are 40 actual long strips on here. And these are obviously dimensional. So that will give you your little area that all of your little shaker pieces, which we're going to use sequins, will fit inside this little square. And it's okay if your pieces are a little bit long. It's not a huge deal because we're going to go with some of this around the edges of this piece of designer series paper. But again, you want to make sure all of these edges butt up against each other because this is where you want your shaker stuff to stay. You could go just around the whole edge of your card, but then all of your sequins will fall to the bottom of the card and you would have to put way too many sequins to fill that up. So you kind of want to make just a little area for all those sequins to stay in. And then take what you have left over. We're going to go down the side of the card because we want it all to be the same thickness. And these are just a little bit thicker than our regular dimensionals. So it's better if you just use these for the outside edge when you're making a shaker card as well. And since they're just long strips, I just try to go along the whole edge. Now this one doesn't necessarily need a piece down the entire edge just because we've got that other piece there, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick it down because it kind of gives it a little bit more structure anyway if you do it like this. Grab one more strip and you can see you can cut them apart. Once you get them off, if you have little pieces left over, just stick them right back on that paper, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with what's left here. I'm just going to stick it right back on that adhesive sheet, and then you can use the strip for other things. So you can just put them actually right up against the old ones if you want to. Whatever, you just put them right back on, put them back in the bag, and you can use those leftover pieces. All right, so the next thing would just to get all of this adhesive backing off, which having the take your pick tool really does work wonders. To peel this backing is not the easiest thing, but this gets right under the edge of that and it makes it easier to peel. Have any of you made a shaker card before? Have you made one recently? If you have, post a picture of it in the comments so everyone can see your shaker card. Doesn't have to be exactly like mine because I know some shaker cards are like super, super elaborate. Mine's not going to be super elaborate. It's an easy one. And if you're new to shaker cards, try something easy first and go from there. Now I know this might not look super easy, but it really is quite easy. Now, since I am going to be attaching this piece directly to the card front, I am going to actually take my poppy sequins and I'm going to put them right on the card front. I don't want too many because then it kind of makes it thick sometimes if you have too many because they'll kind of pile on top of each other. I'm going to put them in the general area where I know my window is. Now, if I was putting another sheet of cardstock on the back of this first, I would just fill this. But since I want to make sure this gets centered on the card, this is why I'm doing it this way. So that way I know I'm centered on the front of the card. And obviously I just put all those little sequins just in a little pile in the basic area where I knew this was going to be. And then now we have our shaker element. Now you can add more, you can add less. You can add little punched images. If you have small punches, punch out some little images with cardstock and put them in there. You can put whatever you want in your shaker card. Hi Diana, how are you? And now this piece that we punched out, that can be used on another card somewhere. The next thing I did was I got my punches out, and I got a couple of circle punches. This is a 2-inch circle punch. And I'm trying to see if that was the size. That is not the size I used. I need my larger circle punch. My 2 1/4 inch circle punch. As soon as I punched it, I knew it wasn't the right one. So I want my 2 1/4 inch circle punch. And then I want to use the Starburst punch again. Now this one, just so you know, right now, the Real Red Glimmer paper is on the clearance rack for $2.25. You get 2 12 by 12 sheets of this. And again, look, I just punched that with the wrong punch. So we're gonna do this one a little bit opposite of this one. We're gonna have red glimmer next, and then we will use the gold glimmer. So then gold glimmer sheets are not on the clearance rack, but they are in the regular store. And this is what we're gonna use that 2-inch punch for. We'll add that gold glimmer. And then a punch that we no longer have is the 1 3/4 inch punch, but that is the one I am going to use for this because I liked the way it turned out. But you can use a 1 1/2 inch punch, would work just fine. I just like the way it turned out with the 1 3/4. That's where we're going to stamp our happy birthday. And I'm just going to use regular Memento ink. And again, this happy birthday sentiment comes from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. And as you can see, it's plenty small enough for a 1 1/2 inch punch. So if you don't have a 1 3/4 inch punch, use a 1 1/2. It will work just fine. And then we're just gonna layer all of these pieces together. You could use your Tombow, you could use glue dots, whatever you want to use for your layers. I'm just going to use my snail adhesive to get these 3 layers together. And then for the back of it, I use Stampin' Dimensionals to give it that pop, so it pops up. So just grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, and if you're better than me, every time I go to do a video, my dimensionals disappear for somewhere, and I can't find them. All right, so I usually just do 3, kind of like a little triangle when I'm doing a circle. But before we stick this down, let's grab some Old Olive cardstock, just a scrap, and then we are going to use the leaf punch just to add a little bit more color to our card. And Old Olive is perfect with this. It's actually one of the colors that is in the designer series paper. And then I just attach these with a glue dot. And I know I'm going to be putting my little circle right here, so I will just attach these before I add my happy birthday down. If I can get the backings off now that I've started using my fingernails trying to get it off. And then you just add your little happy birthday. Super easy, super cute, and it's just an adorable little shaker card. You could use any designer series paper for this. So it doesn't have to be from the Peaceful Poppies designer series paper. You could use, if you want to make a kid's card with it, use the Birthday Bonanza designer series paper. That would be perfect, or the Dino paper. But being able to use a punch to punch out where your shaker elements are going to be works perfectly. It's a lot easier than using dies. Not that dies are hard, but if you don't have dies and you have the punches, use the punches. So I hope you enjoyed today's One Card Wonder Wednesday / Thursday, since I'm a day late. I appreciate you being so patient with me, and I hope you make one of these for someone you love. I live and love to inspire you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.